I'm going to investigate on landscape tourism. My question is, what new forms could Auckland take in landscape tourism? And I would first let you know why the question is important. Auckland is like a gateway to New Zealand, and Auckland is always expanding its boundaries in all the directions, and we can expect 1 million people arriving Auckland in the next 20 years. And if the people are concentrating on a city, that means more productivity, business, and more economic activity that goes on in the city. And also there will be concentrated cultural activity, social tolerance, and more urban experience. And landscape could act as therapy for physical and mental issues of a person, and it can heal some sense of being affected by a disease to a person, and it can act as an aesthetic balm, and it can add to the beauty of the city. And future Auckland should fall into 3 major categories, that is lifting up the economic activity by its performance and making the city more attractive and vibrant, and we should face the environmental challenges when the city expands. And when we go into the statistics, New Zealand is a place where the people from the world wish to have a tour to New Zealand. It's a beautiful place with its stunning natural setting, and New Zealand, 17.4% of New Zealand's earnings are from tourism, and so we can expect more employment and also production of goods and services in New Zealand. And this is the graph which shows international tourism has increased from 2012 to 2015, and this one is about domestic trips that the people in New Zealand take, and this is always constant, and it is always ongoing in New Zealand, the domestic trips. And this is the comparison between international and domestic tourism. Domestic tourism is always ongoing, it's always there in New Zealand compared with international tourism. And the people of New Zealand, the local New Zealand people, prefer going to the place which is nearer to the city, that means 2 to 3 hours of travel. And also the places like Wairarapa and Coromandel, more visitors go to these places than the remote places like West Coast and Gisborne. And also local people go for meetings, weddings and gatherings to the places nearer to the city, that means 2 to 3 hours of travel from the city. And this is the expenditure. The total expenditure from tourism is 29.838 million, that is 17.4%, as I mentioned earlier. And we can see domestic tourism expenditure is more than international tourism expenditure. And this is also the graph which shows tourism in the places in the country, and also we can see domestic tourism dominates international tourism expenditure. Yeah. And landscape tourism can be described as the transformation of the existing physical land. Landscape has always been like an agricultural land before in the earlier times, but now it has been changing into recreation tourism, and it can take different forms nowadays. And these are the importance of landscapes. Economically, it increases the productivity and attracts the residents, and we can expect more production of goods and services. And socially and culturally, it improves the social interaction, sense of the place, cultural values, spiritual renewal and quality of life. Ecologically, it will regenerate the species and conservation and indigenous habitats. And these are few examples from Hyderabad. Hyderabad is a place in the South India, and the first picture is a recreational park in Hyderabad. This is between the residential buildings. This will act as a recreation space to an area, to the residential area. It can have seating, and it helps for social interaction, and also when people come from work to home, they get stressed, and when they can go there, they can get relaxed by these kind of recreational spaces. And the picture 2 shows a crafts museum in Hyderabad. This is actually a museum which showcases the ancient Indian culture, and the area is fully landscaped, and also there are a few stalls which sell the products which are available all over the state, which are made by Indian craftsmen and Indian villagers. And picture 3 is a zoological park. This can also be an example of the form that landscape tourism can take. And picture 4 is an urban waterfront beside a busy area. This space, when we look at it, it adds the beauty to the urban space, because urban spaces in Hyderabad are like there will be more buildings. This space adds more beauty and liveliness to the space when landscapes are created like that. And picture 5 is a resort. It's a luxury resort with accommodation. People can go there, stay there for a night or 2 to 3 days, and they can enjoy the landscapes and few sports, and also they can go for meetings and gatherings. And picture 6 is a demonstrative landscapes. That means this is a heritage building in Hyderabad called as Golconda. This building is 62 years old building. People and visitors from the world go there to visit the building and admire the architecture. When a landscape is created around that space, the building's beauty has increased. Landscape is like an added ingredient to these kind of spaces. And these are few examples from Auckland, the botanical gardens. Botanical gardens has different types of plants. We can learn different kinds of plants existing, and this is different. This takes to a different level of level that landscape tourism can take. And picture 2 is One Tree Hill. That is demonstrative landscapes, because it is a space which shows early Maori settlements in New Zealand. And picture 3 is Amberley Park. It's a regional farm park. This is also a kind of demonstrative landscapes, because it shows the early gardening of Maori people. And picture 4 is Waitaki Ranges Regional Park. This has many activities to go and enjoy the place, like walking and camping and other activities there. And picture 5 is a luxury resort. It's a beach resort. When the land and water mix up like this, I think this will take to a next level landscape tourism form, because it's really amazing, I think so. And I have done the analysis of Hyderabad and Auckland. The climate in Hyderabad is hot and dry. Auckland's climate is subtropical. The population in Hyderabad is greater than Auckland's population. The city growth of Hyderabad is organic settlements, that is the cluster houses, because earlier the early people, they build their houses and they realize that they need services there, and they have created services for the building they have built. Later, when the city started growing, actually they had to consider the existing services, and then they expanded the city like that. So Hyderabad has organic settlements, and Auckland is orderly planned right from the start. The transportation in Hyderabad is easier, because in Hyderabad people like getting everything easier, handy. Like if I go out of my house, I can get my groceries, my stuff, everything from my house to the main road. It's very easier to get there. And there are so many buses and auto rickshaws and many transportation options. But in Auckland, everybody uses individual cars. And Hyderabad cities are busy and lively as also Auckland. The suburban area is also busy. As I told, people like everything nearer in Hyderabad, so suburban areas are also developed, and Auckland has calm and segregated suburbans. The built up spaces in Hyderabad, they consider the concept of Vastu, which is climatology when we see it in English terms. That means every planning of the house is constant, like they'll have living room facing east or north, and bedroom on the southwest, like that. That is Vastu concept. They have a particular standard for planning their houses. The houses depend on the economic status of a person. And in the early times, Hyderabad people didn't give importance to greenery, and when the city started growing, population increased, and they realized the importance of landscapes, how important they are to a society. And then now what they are doing is they are the gated community houses developed, the high-rise buildings, and they have divided the land in such a way that 70% is built-up space and 30% is they left for landscaping. And Auckland is greener, and people understood the importance of landscapes, and it is planned right from the start, including the landscaping areas. There are approximately 70 recreational spaces in Hyderabad, but in Auckland there are fewer. The outdoor activities in Hyderabad are few, but in Auckland we have various options to explore. By this analysis, I have found that Hyderabad and Auckland are very different in every way, but I have observed Hyderabad by staying there. I think I want to explore. I want to focus on new forms what landscape tourism could take in Auckland. And my next step in my research would be, I will be establishing the site criteria, and then I will select a site in Auckland, and I will do the site analysis. I will set my design brief, and then I'll do the design testing and the reflection, how it goes on. Thank you. I'm done.
Thank you very much. You want to talk a little bit about the urban resort?
Sorry?
You want to talk a little about the urban resort? This is your kind of initial idea, wasn't it?
Yeah, but then I thought resort is a very small scale. By discussing with my supervisor, I thought I should explore more options and I should add more forms. Yeah.
So the urban resort is the application. This you take all this sort of knowledge that you're sort of collecting here, and this is going to inform the design of something called an urban resort. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the urban resort is a kind of a new typology of, or new iteration of landscape tourism.
Don't look at me.
No.
Address your questions.
Yeah.
That cannot be a new form, but I can make it new with more activities and more spaces I can add into. I will decide it in the later stage of my research.
I guess kind of one of the questions which will be rattling around in the back of your head as well is that, kind of New Zealand, of all of the places around the world, has quietly done an exceptional job of kind of commoditising the landscape. And so kind of biggest single export rumour is people jumping off planes to come here. And I think by and large they're kind of not coming here to kind of buy new shoes or tour the great kind of art galleries of the world. So it's kind of landscape tourism is kind of a cornerstone really of our tourism industry. People's experiences in a vast kind of array of different kind of landscapes. So one of the interesting things here is going to be how you can find some space in that area which is unique.
And I think there's some fantastic ideas there, because although, as Orson saying that, the tourist industry within the country for the last more than 100 years has really got to grips with the landscape and known how to, harvest it, for want of a better description. there are lots of things in the landscape that aren't used very well from
Yes.
a touristic point of view.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking, I don't know why, but I thought thinking sewers, because in France, if you go to France, you can go into the sewers, or you could go into the catacombs in Turkey, Istanbul. There are amazing things in Auckland that are not discovered or utilised
Yeah.
by the touristic sort of
Yes.
visitor.
Yes.
And I'm thinking about the pipelines you can walk across all the.
Yeah, I get it.
I mean, there is-
Yeah, I
and
get it.
some of those things, if they could be drawn out in design, it could be a really, really fascinating thing to market. As,
Yeah.
don't come in here to look at the mountains. Come and look at the lava caves or some of the industrial sites.
Tunnels under Albert Park.
Exactly, yeah. The stuff under great one. There's similar things over on the North Head, and you go down to parts of the sort of rural parts of New Zealand, and there are all sorts of amazing derelict rural buildings that could be packaged up in this fantastic architectural tour, or perhaps industrial tour. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it could be a fantastic idea.
Yeah.
So what you're designing is an experience, isn't it?
Yes, it's an experience.
Are you committed to the idea of doing this resort thing that Matthew mentioned, or are you at the stage of still investigating which route you're going to go down?
Still investigating.
Because I just get the hunch, because when we spoke to you earlier, you said you'd only been here for a few months, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, so you're in quite a unique position in that you're coming very fresh to Auckland.
Yes.
You're coming somewhat as a tourist, almost.
Yes.
And so you've got a very unique view on how Auckland functions as a touristic
Yes.
place of tourism. So I think it might be quite interesting if you kind of took that personal experience and kind of help that inform some of your, I guess, your design problem for a start, and then your research avenue, I suppose, because there is that component of landscape architecture that's about the experience, that kind of Kevin Lynch side of the image of the city, which is a fantastic book about orientating yourself and navigating, and how
Yeah.
the city forms and shapes inform how you use it and how you view it. And so there's a lot of potential to pick up on a very personal, nuanced view, which you'll probably find is very similar to how other people experience Auckland, and kind of run with that maybe.
Yes.
I like the sound of that.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, we've got a tainted view of Auckland, because we lived here.
Well, that's the thing. We're often kind of providing the same kinds of experiences because we're all looking through the same lens. And so, we're all kind of inquisitive characters. I'd be interested to understand how your experience of coming from India and Hyderabad, like back at your hand, and how some of the approaches to landscape and to tourism could kind of influence what might happen here as well.
So you did this good kind of comparison between Hyderabad and Auckland. Maybe also saying maybe you could dive down a bit on that and make it a bit more about landscapes and what sort of landscapes there are, and
What
experiences, what are the specific experiences, while it's still fresh in your mind.
Okay.
Great quote from Loukya after between our first and our second appointment was, "Oh, how was your weekend? Oh, it's really boring. There's nothing to do." So I think that's a really good platform too.
Yeah.
And I think there's a kind of an experiential quality to this as well, because places have been Hyderabad for the last couple of weeks, but there's a kind of I'd imagine that there's a kind of an amplitude to the experience there, where there's a lot more of everything, and it all kind of happens in your face, and that's one of the things that makes New Zealand pretty dull at times, is that it's all kind of lo-fi.
Yeah.
But it's also very driven by the car. I mean, you picked up on that. We've got a very different kind of
Yes.
itself is a very interesting comparison.
Yeah.
But
And
as a result of the way our city is designed, it's not very walkable. Not yet. We're getting there. It's not easy to get around. as much.
Yeah.
So kind of I think that's a really important factor in kind of how you
Yes.
can.
Yes, that's what I felt. When I came here, it was not easy for me to go around. That's why I told her that I felt really boring in the weekends. So I thought this idea would really help in that way to the tourists who come
'Cause
here.
you're picking up on a very legitimate issue, and I think actually part of kind of maybe helping you progress your research will really be defining what the actual problem is,
Yeah.
really nutting that out and distilling it, and then you'll most likely find a whole bunch of amazing theorists and examples that you can draw on. Because I couldn't maybe emphasise enough Kevin Lynch, and I've noted it down for you, so hopefully you can have a look at it because it is very much about how you experience a place.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, I guess we experience the city through the car.
Yeah, that's
That's
right.
very Auckland.
And it's expensive as well to be a tourist in Auckland, New Zealand, so the
Yeah.
possibility of hiring a car is reduced somewhat, particularly
Yes.
for a student.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as a tourist, I don't know what to do. When I arrive New Zealand, I don't know where to go, what to take, from where should I start and where should I end. It's difficult. Yeah.
I would just get some really
Yeah.
good walking shoes.
Yeah.
Really good walking shoes and a cheap camera or a digital camera, and just throw a dart at the map and start here and just go there
Yeah.
and find a passage, through the detritus of the city and see what you can record. And you might find that there's this astonishing thing. You might explore a walk.
Yeah.
It's a new walk. It's not the sort of conventional one with all the beautiful things that are all laid out for you, made easy for you.
Yeah.
I think there are probably some fantastic difficult walks, and they might be more exciting and more marketable,
Yeah.
or another way of marketing something that no one else has thought about, and you can make a fortune.
Yeah.
And possibly even just reducing down the scale of your area. So at the moment
Okay.
we're looking Auckland broad, but you could really hone that right down to a neighbourhood level.
Okay.
It could be, or you could maybe simplify the subject matter. So you might just look at volcanic cones, for example, and use that as an example, which you could say then you could go off and do with other things like tracks up the offshore coast or something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe you could look at how do you walk to all the volcanic cones in Auckland. I mean, there's 52 odd fields, cones and whatnot. And that's a very, very, very important and somewhat obvious component of our Auckland tourism. Yet there's so much of it that's not known as well. There's lava caves that you can't access, and so it's a very good topic.
Yeah.
And just based on having gone through this myself, it does really help to really strongly identify the problem and then pick a really concise
Yes.
area
Yes.
to work with them.
Yes.
I mean, just speaking about theory and thinking about Mahindra's point, I mean, there is a kind of a body of work theory, psychogeographic mapping, situationists, to read, you're wandering around the city. So there's a group of people in the 60s who kind of looked at how do we understand the city in terms of physical experience and wandering and the unconscious and just finding stuff. A little bit like what Mahindra's talking about.
Yeah.
That sky path, whatever it's called in New York, I mean, what a stroke of genius.
Highline.
Highline, is it?
Highline. Sky paths in Auckland.
Oh, that's right, yes. Highline. It was a wasteland, wasn't it? It was a railway track that was let go, and now people go there just to walk along that, and it's got all these sort of branches which are places to eat and do things,
Yeah.
and it was kind of rediscovered, and that's really the key, I think, is what you're in a very special position because you're able to rediscover things that we're not.
We just go past them.
We just go past them, and that's
Don't
just
consider them anymore.
Yeah.
I have this kind of odd relationship with London. I've never lived there, but I've been there 7 or 8 times or something. And you buy you used to be able to buy the passes off that homeless people for like £2 and all that. And I have this thing where I kind of my experience of London, it's travelling around by tube, and then you pop up like a mole. Tube station.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. And then you pop back down again, and then pop up somewhere else.
Very poor understand where you are.
Yeah. But I just wonder, where Auckland's moving to moving towards rail as a kind of key part of the way that people explore the city and will get around as well. And I just kind of, I don't know, there may be something in how that network works or responds.
It is
to
going to be
things.
weird, isn't it? For the first time in Auckland, we're going to go down.
Yeah. And there's a whole bunch of, well, not a whole bunch, but there's a whole series of little spots which are kind of dots on a map at the moment, which are backwards, within the city. There's new stations that will pop up.
Yes, and they're going to become sort of nodes, aren't they?
Yeah.
New nodes. Let's give them another idea. You could invent a new rail line, a branch within the system. Take you somewhere else that has a landscape basis to it, tourist landscape basis to it.
And the other thing I would say that everyone forgets about is water as well.
Yeah.
It's kind of everywhere all at once. Yet, it's a really kind of undervalued part of our experience.
Try and find a restaurant which is on the water. We can
Yeah.
on the water. Through.
Yeah.
Maybe just a few other questions would be kind of what do you like to do with landscape architecture? Like, is there a particular kind of thing you love to do, like drawing or mapping, or do you like the kind of writing about it? Like, what is it about landscape architecture that you like to do, and how do you like to express your thoughts on it?
Landscape architecture is, when I think of landscape architecture, I just get a picture of trees and parks and all. I think landscape architecture is maybe, I don't know, it's just like a recreation. I just get those into my mind when I see the term landscape architecture. Yeah.
Maybe we could
And
reach out
coming
to
here-
architectural practice. I think Jennifer's trying to get the more of how do you like to work, what's your favourite method when you're doing design. So maybe if you think about your architectural practice, is it the sketching or the writing or
Okay,
what activities?
I like sketching more. Yeah.
I think embrace that, because again, like, this research project is very much about you and your perspective, as well as it is also about how you're offering something to the profession.
Yeah.
And I think what's valuable to the profession is to get a very sometimes quite a personal take on these kinds of issues. So
Yes.
I just wouldn't be afraid of getting your sketchbook out or your camera and really just going to town and drawing your experience, drawing what you see, and then start presenting that to us, because that's really exciting stuff for us to see as well.
Yes.
And it's exciting for you.
Yes.
And if you love mapping, like, just get stuck into that mapping and start really getting to that design side of it.
Yeah.
Because it's when you start doing that, I suppose, more artistic expression of your research is when you start really developing a little bit more depth and a little bit of a new direction of
Yeah.
research, which is really valuable to you.
I
Yes.
think what Jennifer's saying is critical. But what I would recommend is, because we just can't, we're so blinkered, aren't we? Is if you sketch, I would say to myself, I'm going to sketch. It's going to be my method of recording. But I'm not going to use that anymore. I'm going to use that. So you take a different medium and you force yourself to record in a completely different way. So if you were taking photographs, perhaps you just take black and white only, black and white photographs.
Yeah.
And it takes you out of that conventional way that you've kind of got used to seeing things. I mean, you're in an advantage anyway, because you're already seeing things in a different way. You're seeing things in a Hyderabadi way,
Yeah.
But your method of recording needs to be different as well, I believe.
Okay.
So there's a clue. It's worth a try. I mean, it might not work, but
Exactly. Well, that's all what this is about, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
testing stuff
Yeah.
and
It's
learning from it and
Yeah.
retesting, and then
Yes.
going out. horrible
you wanna
annoying
work-
cycle
yeah,
for 2 years.
You want to work it out quickly, whether it's working or not, you know, because you don't want to be a year down the track and realise that black and white photography is just not doing it for you, you know. Yeah, all right, that's fantastic.
Okay. Cesar, do you want to?
Yeah, no, just two things. Like I said, we have been talking that we are going to be designing experience, an experience. So I think it's important to question how do you do that. So some people mentioned this idea of to look for more authors and people that have been writing about that, like the Seattle
Situations,
City.
yeah.
Simon Sattler, he wrote a book in the 60s about that. So how do you design? How do you think about designing an experience journey? And the other thing is that something that you mentioned before that I think was quite interesting, that actually the domestic tourism in New Zealand is higher
Yes, it's higher.
than the international.
Yes.
So that's the question also. Well, what the New Zealand wants to see?
Yeah. Yeah.
What's this new experience for them?
Yes. Yes,
Okay. That's good. That's very helpful. Thank you very much.
thank you.